Hi, everybody. So I'm really glad to be here at the Solh Fiesta as one of the participants and also as one of the presenters. This is a wonderful initiative by Solh Wellness app to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month, especially for mothers and mothers who are rejoining workforce again. So my topic today is socio-emotional skills at workplace. While I will be talking about SEL, skills at workplace, the idea is to help moms, including single mothers, to recognize emotions at play at workplaces, socio-emotional skills at play at workplaces, and how they can maneuver through these things, handle their own emotions, manage their own emotions, as well as that of their team. So moving on, before I move on, very briefly about my platform, the Talk It Out Express. As mentioned, I am a novelist. I write across genre. I am also a psychosocial trainer and a talk therapist and run this platform called the Talk It Out Express. It was formalized in 2019 and it's a platform, a talk therapy and expressive art therapy based consulting platform to help and encourage people enhance their socio-emotional skills and lead healthier lives. Now, I start all my sessions with a quote, and for this session, the quote is this: every business in the end is a human business. It is thus critical to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions effectively in order to make a success of your work and business. Because every business is human business, because we are interacting as humans even while we are doing business, it is important and very critical to recognize and understand the emotions of self and emotions of other people, and then be able to manage them to be successful at our work. Now, where does this word emotion comes from? Even before we move to SEL or the socio-emotional learning skills, let us understand where does the word emotion comes from. It is the origin of this word is the Latin language, in which it was emovere, which means to move on or to move through or move out. So basically, an emotion or in motion is a movement. Okay, dancing is an emotion because you are in motion. And ultimately, what is the idea? What does it convey? Taking action. Our emotions help us to take action. From the littlest of things, what do we want to have in the morning? To whom do we want to vote? All the actions that we take are actually triggered by our emotions. And they are basically the body's defense mechanism for survival. Now, let me give you an example to understand the idea better, or to understand this concept, this word better. For example, you're attending a conference, and as soon as you walk into that conference room and you see people sitting in a very serious mode and talking in hushed tones, your own body language changes. You also tone down. You might be coming from a party and in a very happy, cheerful kind of mood, but as soon as you enter the conference room, you will want to quieten down, because that is the atmosphere in the conference room. So you get the feeling of the collective feeling of the team sitting in that conference room, and you also acquire the same serious attitude. Another example that I will give is spotting a snake. Now, as soon as we are walking down, say supposing you're walking down a street and we spot a snake, what are the reactions? Either we will try to kill it, hit it with a stone or a stick, or we will try to run away. Now, what is the emotion at play here? Fear. Fear makes us take this action of either saving ourselves. As I said, that emotion is the body's defense mechanism to take action. So when you spot a snake, you want the immediate action that you will take is either want to kill it or you want to save yourself and run away, right? So that is what emotion means. It is our body's defense mechanism to take action, from the smallest ones to the biggest ones. At work, whatever actions that we take are essentially triggered or based on our emotions. And that is why it is very important for us to understand and know about socio-emotional skills. Now, what are socio-emotional skills? SEL, or socio-emotional skills, is a set of skills and the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions well on your own, while also having the empathy, the understanding, and the skills to handle other people's feelings as well. As I keep mentioning, these are both set of skills. Both underlie a set of competencies about self and others. Now, some of the emotional skills are self-awareness, being aware of your own self, who you are, what kind of things do you like, what are your life goals, etc. Being aware of yourself. Self-confidence, how worthy are you in your own eyes, how much value do you add to your own self. And self-control, how are you in a difficult situation and how do you manage yourself. These are emotional skills. Social skills are social awareness, how others are feeling, the art of communication. That's a huge topic, we won't be able to cover that, but just to tell you very briefly, communication is a two-way process. So how do you work on it to speak as well as listen, absorb well, and then take action based on that? It's a social skill. Conflict management, again, an important area of social skill. Now, these are some of the socio-emotional skills that I've mentioned. There are plenty of them, but we can't go on to any one of them. This was just to give you an idea what are socio-emotional skills, right? Moving on to the next slide. Here we see, the common emotions at workplace that we experience, positive as well as negative emotions. The positive emotions are joy, feeling energetic, feeling enthusiastic about ourselves, about our work, the project that we are working on, and feeling comfortable with the atmosphere, with the environment we are working in. And the negative skills, emotions that we experience generally are anger, stress, frustration, because you are unable to express yourself perhaps, or you are overloaded with work, then you will experience stress. Fear, you are fearful of your bosses, or fearful of expressing yourself freely, that it might not be appreciated, and feeling uncomfortable generally in your environment. So these are the common emotions that we experience at workplace. Especially I'm talking about moms who are rejoining workforce after a gap, right? So these things will be heightened, these emotions will be heightened. Positive emotions also will be there. You will feel joyful after going back to work after so many years. A lot of us feel really energetic, enthusiastic about our work, but there are negative emotions also that we experience. Now the graphs below, as you can see, uh, will give you position level differences in negative emotion as well as in positive emotions. So your positions are, kind of influenced. Your positions are influenced by negative as well as positive emotions. We are going to see how individual contributors feel at a certain position and how managers feel at their position, right? So the individual contributors are marked by the yellow or the brown graph that you can see, and the managers are in blue. As you can see in the first graph, we are talking about negative emotions. Now, individual contributors tend to feel less stressed, less annoyed, but more uncomfortable in their positions. However, the managers feel more stressed, more annoyed, yet less uncomfortable in their positions. That is because as an individual contributor, you are stressed because the entire responsibility of your own project that you're individually contributing is your thing. Nobody else is there to help you out with them. Of course, there are team members and sometimes you work in groups, but okay, so I guess you got an idea of how position levels, if you're an individual contributor or you are a manager, what kind of negative emotion you feel, how managers feel at that position, the kind of negative emotions. As I mentioned, that the annoyance and stress is less in managers. that kind of negative emotion is less in managers and high in individual contributors, and they are less uncomfortable. They are very sure of their positions. So as compared to individual contributors, they are sure of their position, so they are less uncomfortable. However, in the next slide, you will see that the positive emotions experienced by both the groups, individual contributors and managers, are also slightly different. Now, while managers feel less uncomfortable, they are also less comfortable because they have to work on several issues and several different projects. Their comfort level is low. If they don't do well in a certain project, the whole responsibility is with them. If the team is not doing well, then the final responsibility is where the buck stops is with the manager, right? So they are also less comfortable, and individual contributors feel more comfortable. Again, the individual contributors have less energy, or at least show less energy at work. They are less enthusiastic and less happy. Why? Again, because they are individually contributing. So everything, if they are not enjoying their work, their energy will be low, their enthusiasm will be low. The managers, on the other hand, because they have delegated work to different teams, they want results, so they tend to be more energetic. They tend to show also more enthusiasm. Even if they are not feeling it, they will show it definitely, and they are happier. So these are the basically just to give you an idea about how negative and positive emotions work at different position levels. Moving on. What's the relationship between emotions and employee engagement? Why are we doing this session? Especially moms who are rejoining workforce. Why are we doing this? Because it is an important part of work culture. Now, what happens? A work culture has two different constitutes, or two different segments: the cognitive culture and the socio-emotional culture. Both together form the culture of your workplace. However, around the world, what is noticed generally is the focus is on the intellectual ability of people and teams, very client focused. You discuss a lot of innovative ideas, etc. But we often ignore or neglect the team's emotional skills and abilities. A team will also have certain emotional skills and abilities and can apply them to make a success of the business. But we are not even focusing there. We are often neglecting it, right? So that is why it is important not only to focus on your cognitive culture of the workplace, but also socio-emotional culture. If someone is good in that, that person must be given more responsibilities to handle the team, at least the socio-emotional part of it, or the socio-emotional culture part of it. What is an emotional culture? It is a collective feeling of the team towards their work. If collectively they are in an emotionally happy space, the team will tend to do better work. Research has shown that commitment of an employee towards their work depends on their emotions. Your creativity, your problem solving skills, your decision making skills, and of course the quality of work all depends on your socio emotional culture at the workplace. And how do you understand what is the level of socio emotional skill at your workplace? If you notice that the team or people in the team are fearful, they get angry very fast, they get bored soon, they are inexpressive or passive in their behavior, these are all signs of emotionally suppressed environment where social skills are either ignored or not applied. And that should give a kind of a ring and alarm bell in the managers, and they must be able to address this through one-on-one counseling, either through one-on-one sessions or through team building exercises, etc., focusing on SEL skills and abilities. Moving on. Now, what are the positive coping strategies to manage your emotions for your own self? The first thing is identify the negative emotion or the negative thought. Now, how do you identify that? Often what happens, if the negative emotion is anger, don't immediately jump to conclusion, because anger might be at the surface level. Down below, if you go down, if you look within, it might be helplessness. That is the emotion which is giving rise to anger. Because you're helpless, you're unable to do something about it, about a particular thing, about a particular aspect of your project. It gives rise to another emotion of anger, frustration, annoyance, etc. So first identify what is the negative emotion or the negative thought that is in your mind. Dig out the source. What is the source of that helplessness? Because at the core it is helplessness. What is the source? Is somebody not being helpful enough? Are team members finding the atmosphere too fearful and too suppressed, etc.? Then move on to the third stage, which is managing your emotions. And how do you do that? Maintain an emotional journal for yourself, or express yourself through writing. Talk to a confidant whom you have faith in. Be absolutely open about your feelings, about your thoughts and your negative emotion. Evaluate them. When you start talking, you will start getting solutions also. Oftentimes you will see that as you start venting, you will realize that, okay, the problem perhaps is this, and maybe if I take action in a particular way, I'll be able to solve this problem, right? So these are for yourself. Identify the negative emotion bothering you. Are you feeling helpless? Then if you're feeling helpless, why are you feeling helpless? Then how can you manage this helplessness? Will a talk with a confidant do? Do you have to take further action? Maybe go and seek your project coordinator or your immediate boss, etc., and maybe that will help you out. So these are some of the positive coping strategies to manage yourself. Now, positive coping strategies to manage others' emotions of the employees. The first thing that you have to do is let them express yourself. When people are expressing themselves, they give out keywords. So listen to them. Let them express, let them vent out their feelings, recognize and understand the issue. Don't just be blind or just focus on what the employee is saying, but recognize the emotion at work. What kind of emotion are they feeling? Make them feel heard. So ask questions, show your concern that I'm feeling bad about this. Okay, are you angry? Are you upset? Why are you angry? Restate the problem. Whatever they are saying, restate it so that you know that whatever the person, both of the listener as well as the speaker, both of them understand that they are talking about the same issue, the same problem. Call them by their first name. This is very often that we, most of us do that, but at times we miss it out, right? So when you're discussing a problem, call them by their first name during the discussion. Recognize the negative emotion. I already mentioned that. Address the negative emotion. So try and cool down the emotion first. If the person is feeling sad or too angry, offer them a glass of water. Ask them to, calm down. Address that particular emotion. Why are you feeling sad? Why are you angry, etc.? Then go on to the work problem. Then try to find a solution to the work problem. Respond. So how do you respond? Ask questions, clarify points, avoid reacting. Don't immediately have a solution to the problem. So respond very calmly, coolly, by asking questions, clarifying points, and not blaming the person, right? Being respectful. So attack the problem, not the person. Choose your words very carefully in these kind of discussions. So these were some of the coping strategies for the employees. Takeaways from this session. This is the last slide of the session. Accept and address the fact that our thoughts trigger our behavior. Oftentimes you have heard the saying, check your behavior. So it is not the behavior that needs to be checked. It is the thought that is to be checked. For example, if the thought is, my boss does not like me, or I am not good enough. So you have to provide evidence to yourself that what you are thinking is correct. I am not good enough. Is it true? Or is it that perhaps you have rejoined workforce after a very long time and it is taking time? Perhaps you were really brilliant in your job, but things have changed. Technology has come in. There are so many other complex things in your personal front and also at your professional front that you're trying to handle. So give yourself some space, give yourself some time. and then address. Once you are sure that if it is a negative thought only, then drop that thought. If it is a correct thought that your boss indeed does not like you, or you are not good enough, then obviously you will have to take action on that basis. Take action, go for some advanced courses or classes, seek help, etc. Our behavior impacts us as much as our environment. This does not need explaining. Our behavior will impact us as much as our environment. If we are behaving badly, and behavior cropped from our thoughts, right? So we have to check our thoughts again. Restructuring our thoughts is possible and must be practiced often. Every time there is a negative thought, I'm not good enough, you make a mistake, and then you reaffirm in your mind, I'm not good enough. No, cut that. Check that thought. Restructure your thought. I'm not being able to do this now, but tomorrow or day after, I'll be able to do this. Change that thought to that. Restructure your thought. Employees often give themselves away through their facial expressions, through their body language and words they are using while talking. So be attentive. When you are listening to your colleagues or to your bosses or other people, watch their facial expressions, their body language, the words, the kind of words that they are using. Be attentive to them, and you will know what to do next. Make use of the knowledge and awareness, of course, that I've shared with you, that you have now about social emotional skills. So those were some of the takeaways. And again, I like to close my sessions with a quote, and here is one, a simple one. Your intellect may confuse you, or your intellect may be confused, but your emotions will never lie to you. So emotionally, if you are in a low space, if you're feeling sad, angry, fearful, etc., it is telling you something. It is time for you to take action. Don't neglect them, don't ignore them, but reflect on them and then take action. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this session. I will take any questions that you may have. Well, in my case, because I am a novelist, and I also work, as I mentioned, under the Talk It Out Express. I consult, do workshops, etc. So my job in and out all the time is around social emotional skills. That is my focus area, and I apply it on a routine basis in my personal space as well as my professional life. I try to start off by contemplating, if say supposing there is something that is bothering me, so I reflect on that negative thought. Why is it bothering me? Moving, and I often write down these things. I'm very particular about writing down negative emotions. So detangling is important. That is how I start. Detangle the thought, then move on to the next step, which is understand the source of that negative thought that is bothering me, and then taking action, managing. Do I need to really confront a person? Do I need to talk it out with someone, or can I handle it on my, or manage it on my own, and it's not a big issue and I can just handle it by myself? That is how I go about it. I am a single parent myself. I have been a single mom for the longest time. I mean, for about 14 years now. My son is 19. There were issues that came my way where I felt really low, and I didn't know what was happening. I was completely lost, not focusing on parenting at all, because I was so, overwhelmed by my own emotions. Slowly, I went for a kind of a workshop, and therein I learned how you can cope with your negative emotions, and then I started applying it on myself. And I couple of years back, in fact, I came up with my book, Going Solo, Raising Happy Kids, which also talks about emotions and socio-emotional learning skills for single moms as well as single dads, of course. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yes, it is a huge challenge. It's not very easy to do all of this by yourself. you need support, you need support system. You need to be reach out and not keep to yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling you are unable to focus on both sides, your personal front as well as professional front, seek help from your partner. Talk about it, find certain common areas where you can work together, or divide work, divide responsibilities. These things seem little, they seem very small things, but asking your partner for help is not wrong. Telling how you're feeling, if this partner is not being supportive, and letting them know how it is impacting you, your mental health, is not wrong. And this is something that we shouldn't be keeping only to ourselves. Women generally tend to do this quite often. They want to be seen as super women. We don't have to do that. We need to reach out if we are feeling low, if we are not being able to really manage all the sides well. Then you have to discuss this out in the family, and allot responsible, give little jobs to also even children, give them age appropriate responsibilities so they can manage at least certain aspect of their life by on their own. Well, my one and only thought that I want to share with moms is that please focus on your emotions. We are very good with taking care of our household, our house, and our children, and the family. We are very good at that, but what we do is, in all this, we neglect our own emotional health. We either neglect it or we ignore it. बाद में देख लेंगे, बाद में कर लेंगे. So that me time, when you can reflect on your self, on your own self, is very, very important. Giving pampering yourself is shouldn't make you feel guilty. Go out once in a while, have that during the day, if you can't find out time for yourself, have that give yourself that space in the evening where you are with yourself or with your friends, and not feel guilty about it. At least if not during weekdays, during weekends, you must make it a point to go out with friends, do some things that you like doing, instead of just focusing all the time on on your family, and at your work, etc. Yes, of course, all that is important, but that will only happen if you're happy from within. You can balance the other things. Otherwise, if you are unhappy, if you are not in that emotionally healthy space, you won't be able to give that kind of output or result in your other areas. That's all I would like to say. Thanks.